Hey, Jordan.
Hey,
How's it
what's up,
going?
Colin? It's going all right, man. Are we live? I'm watching the YouTube
Yeah, it
thing.
takes like 30 seconds. We'll show up. Don't worry.
Word.
It,
Okay.
you know,
What's up, everybody?
it's
Welcome
it's Monday,
to
and
Knotfest.
you know what that means.
It means it's time for Knotfest wrestling.
So true. And no
Yeah.
other wrestling media today at all.
No other wrestling media.
Very importantly, hello APC, welcome. We wanted to start this off with just a quick little heads up that our new entrance theme for the great Wardlow in AEW is out now on Bandcamp and YouTube. It'll be on Spotify and all that soon. It takes longer to process for the lowly peons and peasants such as us, but thank you, Jordan, for your help with that. It was
Of course.
it was an honor to do. We're very psyched on how it came out.
Yeah. Go check it out.
Symphony
We
of
were up-
War.
Symphony of War. We were up for 72 hours.
True.
It
And
was
then
chaotic.
another 48 of mixing.
Speaking of something else that I spent 72 hours on, it was a list of the top 10 wrestling factions. This was the
Oh my
hardest
God.
list to put together, I think, yet.
Man, why
At least for me.
Why was this so difficult?
For me, I know it's because to be honest, I wasn't around
Yeah.
for a lot of like the classic factions. You know, like that was not part of my. I've only been watching for like 6 years or whatever. So because of that,
Your number 2 is going to be like a Blackpool Combat Club or something.
yeah, 100%. the there are omissions
Sure.
on my like I have like honorable mentions, and number 1
Mhm.
is Four Horsemen. I've never seen them do anything. I can't put them on a list. I don't know. I know that it's the guys. I know that it's the four.
This is gonna
Those
be
4 old guys.
This is gonna be an interesting episode, Jordan.
It's gonna be a fucking interesting episode. Number 2.
You should wait for your honorable mentions because you're listing. You're gonna list half my list in your.
I
Honorable
only got one more, and it's the Bloodline because I also have never seen them do anything. I've seen Roman Reigns.
Oh, I mean, I don't know if has anybody putting them. Is anybody on Earth putting them on their lists other than like
I don't
teenagers?
fucking know.
True.
Like I'm just saying. I'm just these teams that could be on a list like this. I'm like I've never seen them, so they're not on there.
All right, this is gonna be truly fascinating.
This is gonna be fascinating.
As like a
You
new
should go
wrestling
first.
point of view versus mine seasoned point of view.
Yeah.
Well, here goes nothing. My number 10,
Mm-hmm.
the Corporation. The Corporation, Jordan.
I don't even know what
Vince-
that is.
Vince McMahon and co. A lot of people were in and out of here. The Rock, Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, Shane McMahon. They were the antithesis of Stone Cold Steve Austin in the biggest era of wrestling ever. So, you know, the evil villainous Vince McMahon via the corporate, like these was his people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have any of that really at the end of the day without this. And it lasted forever. So I'm not putting it high. It's only here because of like its impact on wrestling as a whole. But like I hate their guts. You know, I hate everything about it. But it's number 10.
Yeah, everyone, you were like, it had everybody. It had Triple H, it had Shane McMahon. I was like, oh.
Yeah, it's the stinkiest of the stink. But
yeah.
I'm going like for this one on like contribution to wrestling overall. And it was like this Stone Cold was really able to fly because the corporation was stinking up the ground, you know?
Right. Stinking up the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I love that when you first said the corporation, I was like, it was like a The Office themed faction.
No, it was not. It was
came
like,
out to the theme.
It was an office. It was the corporate office, you know? And
right.
They were there to stop Mr. Cold Steve, and
Mr. Cold Steve.
They could never do it.
I get it.
Yeah.
No one could. I mean, you weren't allowed to stop him back then.
No, hell no.
You can't. If the corporation cannot win, like you can't book that.
That's true.
All right. Well, prepare to get pissed because not my number 10 is DX.
We're gonna have to wait for that.
10. Yeah, I
But
figured.
I mean, I get it because it's just that ain't your era. But
I
you're
it's because of what of something that is also on my list. But yeah, DX number 10.
this man is.
What's your number 9?
The man's a menace. We'll have to talk about that. I feel like this is
Yeah.
gonna be higher on yours. My number 9 is the Shield.
Yeah, it is. So we'll also talk about that later.
Right on. Give me your number 9.
Right on. Number 9, again, newer. I don't know. This is like nepotism a little bit, but House of Black.
They're on
number 9.
mine up there. It's beyond nepotism because I looked at it as this. Kids watching wrestling who are into the things that we're into.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have this.
Yeah.
I didn't have a House of Black as a child. I had the Ministry of Darkness or whatever, but they weren't out there in I wouldn't see them online in nail shirts and shit, you know?
Yeah.
Like this is the House of Black is giving a whole subgenre of human,
Right.
an aspect of wrestling to relate to.
It is the first like real representation of just like the visual, like what that culture actually is, like what wrestlers want to look like, and like what the Undertaker wants to look like is these guys.
Yeah, this
like
is
if
them
we're
at
being
home,
real.
you know.
Yeah,
These guys go home and still look like that.
Right. Yeah, we have Undertaker at home.
Yeah,
but I think that they haven't. The thing is, they still feel so already. They haven't even done anything, and they already feel iconic, and they are always exciting, even if they haven't done the thing that they're gonna do yet. Like everyone just knows that they're gonna go on to be just one of the greats, even though it's early stages.
yeah, it's inevitable. Just the presentation, the execution of every element of it is perfection and is like tailor made for a guy like you and a girl like me, you know?
Yeah, 100%. This is our meet cute. Is through this.
This is it. What I mean,
this incredible faction.
Yeah, it's true.
It's also you see that other people, like regular folks, normies agree with this
100%.
Also because the Julia Hart turn, like that was set up for 5 months and then they didn't address it, and then the second they even seemed like they were gonna dip into that storyline, the entire arena erupts. Crazy. People are just ready for these guys to do stuff.
I also see polls all the time on like a YouTube community poll or something that'll be like best AEW faction, and the House of Black is always voted by other people as number 1.
Yep,
that's other people. That ain't me.
Fucking tight.
Yeah, I agree. It's just cool. It's everything you want to see, and then and then the bell rings, and they're even better.
Yep,
and that never happens.
Nothing that cool is ever lives up to it. It's crazy. It's nuts.
You get Undertaker and Kane get in a fucking tag match, and then you're like, oh my
god. Yeah, it would be a clothesline.
Yeah, this is 3 guys who aren't tag team wrestlers.
Tag team
having perfect
flipping
tag team matches with another guy in there. It's a 3-man tag team, and they're every time you're like, they're good at that.
They're really good at that, and this ain't even their whole night.
No,
this is not their main gig.
No,
it's crazy.
It is crazy. All right, that's a good number 9. They're up there. They're a little up there for me, but my number 8 is the Nation of Domination.
I've heard of this. I don't know what they are.
It's Black Excellence, brother. The Rock itself was born out of the Nation of Domination. D'Lo Brown, fucking Farouk, Ron Simmons, first Black.
Wait, I love this. This sounds great. It's just a black faction just being like, it is cool.
Yeah,
and we are black.
Yeah, and like it was like they were they were heels. Like people booed them for saying like provably true things.
Right.
And yeah, I just remember like even as a tiny kid watching at this time was so just drawn to what they were saying and their vibe because they they had the matching gear and everything. D'Lo was fucking on top of the world at this time. D'Lo was so fucking over because of the head shaking thing. Farouk just seemed like this old vet, and the Rock, like the Rock character was blossoming before our eyes.
Oh,
yeah,
I love that.
It's good stuff.
I'm 100% gonna check them out. That sounds sick as hell.
You'll love them.
All right, my number 8. You're gonna roll your eyes into the fucking L.A. River. Best Friends. Love them. Listen, man. You said that how we were talking, everything that you can say about House of Black, you can say about Best Friends, just for like weird comedy fans are all about Best Friends is a draw for a regular
here's
person.
The thing you got to remember me. You're telling me the Best Friends are the 8th best faction in history. What other ones do I? I get it, and if you standing by that, I appreciate that. I appreciate that because and I'm looking at this through your eyes. Is that Orange Cassidy to like a person seeing wrestling for the first time is like the most interesting thing you've ever seen?
Dude, it's so funny, and the fact that they're just calling the tag team like we're the Best Friends is just the name alone is enough for me to go, they're the best one. That's great.
And it's funny that has been tried so many times, the whole like we're best friends thing. And now they just
to literally call it that is so funny.
They fully adopted it.
And the fact that they are funny and that they are also good in the ring, it's great. I feel like they've had, like a lot. They've had more moments, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Like the arcade match,
street fight.
They've in the world title, like they've had multiple folks have like had world title matches through that. They've done a lot. They haven't, sealed the deal or whatever.
The 8th best faction of all time. They're gonna really appreciate that. That's how I look at it.
Listen, I love Orange. I love all them guys.
The 8th best.
Great. 8th best.
Wow. You are a sicko. Shout out to they're great. 8th best. Holy moly. I'm just thinking about like the fabulous Freebirds are at home just like
watching the show.
Yeah, Michael P.S. Hayes is tuned into Knotfest YouTube like,
God damn.
This son of a bitch.
This son of a bitch. This guy likes friendship more than he likes birds.
Exactly. My number 7? Is it 7?
Yeah.
The New Day.
We got to talk about that later.
Oh Lord. Jordan's number 1, The New Day. Okay,
Maybe.
What's your number 7?
Number 7. All right, here's one you will appreciate this. The Hart Foundation, huh?
Oh yeah. They didn't make mine, but I can see that.
Dude, I watched the Canadian Stampede thing, and that
legendary
is one of the most undeniable things I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
I think genius. The entire concept of heels in America, like faces in Canada.
It's not even a
brilliant
concept. It was not by design. Completely organic.
Unbelievable stuff.
Just
they're great. I love every type of Bret Hart. Even though he's like a kind of a goofy promo, you just love him.
Yeah, because he's like he's not kidding. He's serious.
Right. Him talking shit about the American healthcare system in 1994 or whatever.
Ahead of its time.
God tier.
A lot of things he said and did were ahead of their time. And
I love the.
You ain't booing that today, you know? no matter where you are.
I also do like. Have you seen the meme where like someone just wrote Deicide, like put the Deicide logo on Heart Foundation? It's
No, but
perfect.
that's fucking awesome.
Fuck it, they look exactly like
Have
the
you
fellas.
seen?
It's
You know,
unbelievable.
speaking of that, completely off topic. Well, kind of on topic. Have you seen the Dave Matthews Band promo with the Suffocation logo on it?
No, I gotta see that. We'll do memes after the episode, but let's get to your
right.
number 6.
My number 6 is House of Black.
Fuck yeah.
So yeah, hit me with your number 6.
All right, my number 6.
Judgment Day.
The thing, Judgment. Yeah, no. Is Bullet Club
6?
Even though,
wow,
6. Here's the thing. I'm a lot of I don't know. Bullet Club. The first time I watched it, I was like, "The fuck is this?" I like the initial. I think the initial idea of Bullet Club is sick as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not it being like an NWO ripoff or whatever, but the concept of just like the white people are the invaders.
Yeah.
Like we are the foreign menace.
The guy
in this
terrorists.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So smart.
We gotta wait to talk about it because it's pretty up there for me.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna talk about just what like
sure.
I like for me, I think the name and the logo suck ass. I think it sucks.
I think
but the concept is sick.
I feel like the name and the logo have taken, you know, when a band can be called like Piss Balls,
Mhm.
you know?
Piss balls.
But
yeah.
by the third album, you aren't thinking about the words piss and balls. You're thinking about like
exactly
the words mean the band. So
right.
like Bullet Club sounds like a funny Japanese translation of something, even though it was probably like created by Prince Devitt and Bad Luck Fale. It still sounds it's a funny like Bullet Club is a funny combo of words. But now I think it's badass. Because it just is its own. Tama and Fale were initial members. There you go. The white people, Brody said.
The white people.
The gaijin. Jordan, the gaijin. Not the white people.
The gaijin. Well, listen. Isn't that, did it not start with all? I guess, yeah. Because Bad Luck Fale and Tana was in it at the
Tama
start?
Tonga.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Well, whatever.
The non-Japanese people.
Foreign menace. Yeah, non-Japanese. That's a good idea. I do kind of wish it was, when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, it's just a bunch of American dudes. Like it's Team America, but they're the bad guys. And then I found out it started by like an Irish guy and whatnot, which is it's still
they don't have guns in Ireland. They don't have bullets in Ireland.
He's just coming in there shearing a sheep.
That's why he named it Bullet Club, because he was like bullet. What do people
Bullet
do with
Club.
bullets? They club people? Okay, we'll call it that.
We'll throw a bullet at him, club him in the head. Then
I'll club you in the head with a bullet, lad, if you get too close to me. Japan is due for a good bullet clubbing. All right, we'll talk about
number 5.
My number 5 is Evolution is a mystery. Full of change that no one sees. Evolution.
I've never. Were you doing a Lemmy?
Yeah. Was that good?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Was that good?
It got compressed by Zoom, but it sounded like you were doing a good job.
You just knew it was
Evolution. It's great.
You knew it was Lemmy, and I was compressed, so it must be pretty good.
It's a pretty good Lemmy, man.
First of all, the song is fucking legendary. For one, it's like that's like a goat wrestling theme to me. And there's like 4 notes.
Evolution is a book I read.
And the riff is just like man, and there's nothing to it, and it still goes. It's all a Lemmy. But Evolution came at a time in wrestling where it was kind of like a lot of people were getting out post Attitude Era. And in this like sink or swim era, this was the story that was so interesting that you just needed to watch Raw. Was the ascension of Evolution, and then Randy leaving, and then eventually Batista leaving down the road, but like their reign of terror with Triple H being like, yeah, I know I did, like even with these guys with him, he's like, I did this. Evolution's about me.
Right.
It was like peak Triple H reign of terror. Just like always champion, but then at the end of it, always putting one of his boys over. So you can't. He's done some stuff, but like a lot. But then there's this. It was like a perfectly played story, and the group existed for like exactly the amount of time it needed to, for just the reason of evolving the show and making Randy Orton and making Batista.
Well, so I only know about this because of like this faction, this era of Triple H is involved in like the two most like problematic on-screen storylines
Booker T
that
and
WWE. Booker T and the Kane one, the like dead girlfriend thing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So that's what I know this
Kane
as, and I also know it as Randy Orton's flop. So
it was not a flop at all. It was just that he was like
he flopped as a
drawing babyface champion, yes, but only because he was like, I want to be bad. This is not me. It didn't. Totally. He hadn't figured that out yet. But the response that he got every week was insane. Like, and I remember even me, I would go to Raw and I'd be like, fucking Randy Orton, holy shit. I was all in on Randy. I loved him. So I wouldn't if you're looking at ratings and shit and like house draws, maybe.
I don't.
But
no,
I'm telling you, like,
I don't.
Audience reaction, Randy was over.
Sure. I mean, I don't know. Like this to me is like what it's Four Horsemen, the sequel. Like they're just doing Four Horsemen. Triple H is dressed exactly like Ric Flair.
Totally.
I'm not fucking into like a group that's a reference to another. Like do a new group.
But
what are you doing?
The whole purpose of the thing was for Randy and Batista to eventually like beat them both. But like both would beat Triple H and leave and like kill him on the way out, essentially. And for that, it made like 2 amazing years of wrestling TV.
I do want to point out to you that Randy never beat Triple H. Triple H beat Randy like every time.
Sure, but still, he was champion and refused to give it to Triple H. And then I think Triple H did beat him for the championship. But still, and yeah, like that was silly. But that was so that Batista could eventually kill Triple H, and that was fucking incredible.
I mean, I respect the choice because of like, I get it. They were booked strong and whatever, but I'm not. I think this is your wildest choice.
It is not, my friend. I'm telling you, what you're saying is pure speculation because again, you ain't seen it. I'm telling you, it kept the fucking lights on at WWE for 2 years. Evolution. Nothing else was interesting.
I know this is like all I know is that I've seen the messy ass angles and I've heard nothing but people were like, this was a nightmare.
You've heard podcasts about backstage people, but for me, as a young viewer, I was like so in. And they made there was a Nintendo GameCube exclusive WWE game called Day of Reckoning. I think it was GameCube exclusive. I could be wrong. Somebody will correct me or nobody will listen to this. But the story mode was like you join Evolution and eventually become the leader and like kill Triple H. And it was so good that maybe that's why I'm a little biased towards Evolution, that the game and like I was technically in Evolution. I was in it. So I like, to me, I don't know, man. This made good TV. I don't know people who are like Evolution sucked. I straight up don't.
I maybe not like to me, I'm trying to find like, all right, well, yeah, it made Batista. That is the successful thing. People hated Triple H's reign. I know that. It's like everyone's least favorite title reign, like most, because it was frustrating. to a point where they were like, it was good and then it wasn't because he wouldn't let go of it.
Everybody hated every Triple H reign though, and that was the problem
Right.
with him as a whole, is that it always went back to him. Like I said, this was peak Triple H reign of terror, but this was the part of it that I loved a group at the time, and they hadn't. This was like the first new thing, it felt like, in so long.
But I guess that's kind of my problem with it, is it's literally just they're doing exactly the Horsemen, but they put Godsmack font and called it.
No, they put Lemmy on it, and it rocked. But
it did rock.
It wasn't. It wasn't Four
Lemmy.
Horsemen, because Four Horsemen were pretty much intact, start to finish. They had a revolving door of guys, but it was never like, okay, we're not the Four Horsemen anymore.
Weren't you telling me that Arn Anderson was gonna like fight
We'll get there on our new show Nitro, only on Knotfest, premiering soon, where we watch every single episode of Monday Nitro ever. But no, ultimately it was not like this, where Evolution was made to get Randy and Batista over, and it worked beautifully, and it brought Rick back from the dead. Basically, Rick had lost himself. He had lost all of his confidence, and like Triple H shook him and was like, "You're fucking Ric Flair, dude.
Right.
Let me give you something."
Yeah, a lot of the rest of my list is me just kind of going like, I guess. Like,
there you go.
I felt I'm just shocked based on what I've heard about Evolution. But
you're shocked based on something, conjecture, pure conjecture, because I was there.
Well,
and
right,
I loved
seen
it.
Just from what I've seen. There's no way I'm watching 2 fucking years of a thing. I'm not fucking doing that. But I did see Triple H like have sex with a fake body, and I definitely saw him bury the shit out of Booker T in horrible ways.
Yeah, that's like
it feels terrible.
That's like the least justifiable loss
maybe
ever
in wrestling history.
So there's that. What's your number 5?
My number 5, I'm putting I found out that when the Hardys are with Lita, they are called Team Extreme, and I love the Hardys. The Hardys are undeniable, so I'm going Team Extreme. They're the most over people still to this day.
That's fair. I was kind of making like rules for my own self, where it was like tag teams with another person didn't count or something, where it's like, but yeah, I guess that counts. It's just like,
you said 3 or more people.
It technically counts, but like, I feel like those, you can't do like a 6-man tag all the time with them. You know, I don't think of Team Extreme as, I don't know. Maybe I should. Maybe I'm the problem. But yeah, fucking legendary, dude. I was Jeff Hardy when I was like 8.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
of course, they were what every kid wanted to be.
Yeah.
There's like a moment where they have all the belts that they can have, like the tag belts. She had the woman's belt. They did some like tag stuff. Anytime there was like the tables, ladders, and chairs match, Lita's in there doing a thing. They're a faction.
They never won.
They were cute, but I guess I would have probably put them higher, except for exactly what you're talking about, where it's like, I guess like are they technically a faction is debatable, but I think that they are.
To me, it was more like they're a tag team and Lita is like with them, but also doing her own thing, which I guess is kind of the definition of
that's
a
what a faction.
Yeah,
it's complicated. That's why they're number 5. They would be higher.
It's a good pick because I mean, dude, I fucking lived in before House of Black as a kid. Like Hardys were my House of Black. It was like, oh, they're the closest thing that Like something tells me that like these guys like what I like, and I had no indication of that or reason to think that, but I did.
Right. When I would be like, looking after my little cousin, and he's watching wrestling. I have like blue hair. It's like 8th grade. I see I see a Jeff Hardy and I'm like, yeah, look at that.
Me on TV.
Me
Yeah.
love a Jinko pant.
Oh yeah.
Love a big ass pant.
He represented us, and much shout out to Jeff. So thank you, Jeff, for.
Well, not right now.
Well,
he's not doing great.
Shout out to
the wrestling character Jeff.
Shout out to
actual Jeff Hardy. You gotta get it.
Shout
together,
out to the memories.
Jesus. Shout out to the memories.
That's the way we'll do it. All right.
Yeah.
My number 4.
Yeah.
I was gonna sing it, but I think I'll probably
sing it.
No, I'll clip.
Sing it.
No,
do it.
You
got to do it now.
Degeneration X. Degeneration X. It's funny that
it sounded like you were yelling into a fan.
I basically was.
I put these guys a lot lower because they're a ripoff.
What are you talking about? They're a ripoff.
They're the ripoff of the NWO.
No, see,
that's the whole thing.
You've been brainwashed by the WWE documentaries. They rewrote history.
Why would WWE brainwash me to think that the NWO is the that's
you've been brainwashed. But I agree a little bit for sure. It was a reaction to what the NWO was doing.
Right.
But there were a lot of things that they did better.
Really?
Yes.
Like what?
This is so fucking legendary. USA sending them a list of things they're not allowed to do or say.
Mm-hmm.
And then Triple H on TV the next day reading the list out loud. It was like, we are not allowed to say fuck and cock and dick and balls. And it was like him getting bleeped every second. And the ratings were like sky high for the segment. So basically USA was called back and was like, that was really smart, guys. Great job. I think you've got something here. And it was like weeks of them doing their segment and then getting back to Gorilla and Vince being like, yeah, fucked me. But like he would see the ratings and be like, all right, fuck, man, put him back on.
Yeah.
Because they were so over. But
totally.
There is a funny, I mean, I was a DX kid over NWO for sure, which is so funny to me now because it's like I was brainwashed by WWE because the NWO was so much bigger and like more important to the landscape of wrestling. And what the WWE documentaries are doing now is saying that like they were neck and neck and like DX was as big and it was like the perfect counter programming, and that's just not true. It just wasn't even close.
Yeah, the importance of DX, like that's the thing is like the legacy of DX is just like they said piss on TV. Like,
but see, that's reductive and just blatantly false. I think DX was at its best post Shawn when they got X-Pac, when they got the New Age Outlaws.
But X-Pac is NWO.
But that was cool because they stole him. That just looked like they stole him because it was like he re-debuted in WWE with DX. So it was like, damn, DX is so crazy that now they're stealing NWO guys. This is nuts. So like think about that from like a child psychology standpoint. Is you're like, holy shit, maybe they are better. And then the invasion was the thing where you're like, okay, maybe they're cooler. Because they're invading their place and NWO is not stopping them or coming out. So maybe DX is the cooler group.
Right. Well, I mean, I thought when I found out about that, I was like, it's kind of cooler now that WCW's faction is in a place where they don't even need to acknowledge.
But that's the opposite of what they were doing every other week, every other day of the year.
Right.
Every day from WCW seemed really. You'll see when we watch it every week on Nitro, where we watch every single episode of Nitro on only on Knotfest. It was like really insecure the way that they talked about WWE. It was like They can't
Totally.
They can't go 5 minutes without being like, at WCW here where the big boys play only and nowhere else. Like they can't stop putting themselves over because they think they have to. And in this case,
Right.
them not acknowledging it was like the only time they didn't acknowledge it.
Right. Okay. That's fair. I mean, I just I think like on par, if you like, we're gonna talk about NWO later for both of us, I'm assuming. But yeah, I think DX, when you look at it on paper, like after post Sean, there's not a lot of titles. There's a lot of popularity.
I'm telling you, it was not popularity, dude. It was like mania. DX in that era was the biggest thing. It was as big as Stone Cold.
Yeah, I remember it. But I think it's like it's Stone Cold creates a landscape where a DX can exist, but they're just it's a more, I feel like it found a space to do something, but what it did is just it's guys saying bad words and kids being stoked on it. Yeah, which I get. I love a bad word. Cool, I say all of them.
You're doing a Jordan thing right now. Your head's up.
What do you mean?
Your head's up your butt. Pull it out and tell me your number 3 or number 4.
See, a sentence like that. That's why DX was bad.
That's right. That's why they rock, dude. But they would have said ass, like and I would have gone. Yeah!
I feel like DX won't exist without I feel like if you have a faction on the faction list that wouldn't exist without another faction on the list, it's not great.
And here's we play music, man. Everything comes from somewhere.
Totally. But not like direct, not like immediately
it didn't feel, and like, yeah, I was a child, and like now you can look back at it and be like, okay, this was clearly like supposed to be kind of their
like a corporate move.
But it is the rare case where it really worked and eventually completely trounced the original. NWO was shot.
What is the Straight Edge Society?
Straight Edge Society was CM Punk, Festus,
and
Serena Deeb.
The Straight Edge Charles Manson thing.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
Fuck!
But I think that's like
rocks.
It's like, other than now on WWE, is like the worst era of WWE wrestling in history.
Probably.
But I think that was genuinely great every time. Like the Royal Rumble where Punk.
That's what I've seen.
It's so fucking good.
The promo in between every other elimination. That is what sold me on CM Punk.
Yeah.
When I initially was watching, I was like, I was waiting to like get the thing, and then someone showed me that, and I was like, this guy's a genius.
He's a genius. Legit.
He's unbelievable.
That's a hard honorable mention, but what is yes, it did. I liked it. I had the shirt and everything, but I'm not putting that over any of these 10. It ain't over.
Evolution over the Straight Edge Society.
100%. 1,000%.
I want to drop someone off for the Straight Edge Society just because I've only seen the promo, but it was sick. I would love to see.
It was great. The
Royal Rumble, crazy ass.
The Rumble was the highlight, but like in other than maybe Brody King being a pro wrestler, I like their impact overall. I was already Straight Edge, so and so was he. But it was like,
dude,
to me, it was like a heel, a bad guy who I loved, like using this thing that I am to get booed. I was like, this is brilliant, because the whole like him adopting like old hardcore catchphrases like I'm Straight Edge means I'm better than you was,
dude, using that as a heel tactic that is so fucking smart. It is it's exactly what like there is no Daniel Bryan doing the like environmental champion run if there is not CM Punk doing straight edge society. I
There's
actually
a
want to fucking change one of mine for that because I forgot that is a faction. I
what?
can't. I've
No,
never.
your list is set in stone. No changing.
I know.
Um,
Uh,
what's your number? Is it 4?
It's number 4. My number 4 is I don't know it's the Shield, I guess. Like there, I wasn't really around for this like a bunch of the Shield, but their resume is kind of undeniable. People loved them, even though they came out dressed as fucking cops.
The Shield
but
was.
they're undeniable.
Here's the thing: Brody's bringing up Nexus in the chat right now. The Nexus is tarnished forever because of Wade Barrett not beating John Cena.
Probably.
If Cena had put over Wade Barrett in that moment, Nexus would still be going. Wade Barrett would still be world champion to this day, and they'd be number 1.
I love me some Wade Barrett. I didn't even know that happened. I love his voice. I would love to see that.
The Nexus was legendary. It was like
I'm gonna beat John Cena.
Exactly. It was the NXT guys invading together, and then eventually Punk was like their pseudo facto leader. Like he had brought them there. Same with the Shield. He brought them there. And the story was built and built and built to like Wade Barrett finally like being the new guy to topple John Cena. And he couldn't do it, and then it really fizzled out. But yeah, there was a lot of guys in that group who flourished after that. And Nexus is a great honorable mention for mine. But
it's a good idea.
It's a great idea.
But it sounds like that's the problem is like what are like with these greatest factions, like is it what they did or is it the idea itself?
And there's a couple of those like House of Black being in my list, Brody.
Right.
You're brand new, but I still think you're number 6 all time. So give me a fucking break. But back to the Shield. The
Shields, I mean, they're all like, they're the one faction that like every dude is multiple time world champion.
In one night, they were all world champion.
That's the sick. I did see that. That's one of the sickest things I've ever seen.
That's a
There's
cool
nothing
stat.
You can do about it.
Cool. And what's really cool about them is that it was over as soon as it was coolest. Like the night after the coolest thing that they did, they beat Evolution, like reuniting just to fight them. Broke up. The whole always have a plan B thing.
Yep.
So, yeah. What's your number 3? Oh, my number 3.
No, it's your
my
turn.
number 3 is the Bullet Club.
Okay.
Domino effect. Bullet Club to AEW existing is undeniable.
Yeah.
So
what they did, unbelievable.
It's fucking like wrestling itself owes a debt to the Bullet Club.
Yeah.
Therefore, cannot be denied. I don't know what else. There's not much else to say. A lot of legends have been in and out of there. AJ Styles, Kenny, Mr. Devitt, Senor Devitt.
I think, yeah, we talked about it earlier. Like it's sick and undeniable. It's fucking. I hate that logo. I hate that logo.
I just don't. I don't look at it as a drawing. I'll tell you what I do hate.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry if the guy ever hears this. The fucking Bullet Club song.
Oh God. Yeah. I've heard it. I forgot about it because I don't think they ever use it. Because
maybe now they don't, but holy shit! In the heyday, everybody came out to it, and every time I had to hear it, it was pain, dude. I'm coming up to James, I shot him with. It's like a weird, like Alvin and the Chipmunks type effect on the vocals. I despise it.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. There's the reason the Bullet Club were number 6 for me is because the influence is undeniable, but there have been, you know, like there's stuff that just kind of sucks about it. There have been versions of it that kick a lot of ass, and then there are
Rocky
versions
wrote the
when
song.
the dudes, huh?
Rocky wrote the Bullet Club song. Oh no.
No.
My favorite wrestler, Rocky Romero. Rocky, I'm sorry, dude. I didn't mean it. I'm deleting this.
This episode does not exist.
This doesn't exist.
We got to cut it out.
Yep.
But you know, there's just versions of it that weren't very good. It's just which just kind of is inevitable with a lot of factions that they're gonna go through iterations.
Yeah, I mean they had
we're gonna leave.
They really are the new NWO in that regard. Is that like guys came in and out, and some versions were better.
They've been going longer.
Yeah, it's crazy.
At this point,
they're going strong right now. World champion, never open weight champion, not the tag team champions, but yeah, they're doing well right now. They're having a good year. Good year for the old BC.
The old BC.
Yep. What's your number 3?
I'm gonna get a lot of shit for this. I put them here because I kind of.
Don't you say it, dude.
What? What do you think I'm gonna say?
Are you gonna say the Wyatt family as number 3?
No.
Okay.
No. Fuck no. For a long time, the weekly wrestling that I watched was NXT.
Okay.
So the first real successful faction I ever saw was the Undisputed Era. That's the first time I see it. I see them kicking ass. They're doing a great job. It elevates everybody in the group.
That's just so crazy to hear you the perspective of that is like I started wrestling when the Undisputed Era was my time.
Yeah. I remember when the Undisputed Era was winning the North American Championship.
Yeah. I could see for a newer wrestling fan just that the moment they were not together very long, and I think that's kind of what the wild part is.
It felt like a lot longer. Well, like they've become the version that everybody from Roddy joining. It kicks ass.
Yeah,
it just does.
It does.
Like they're also. I literally don't know. I've only been watching for a couple of years, but I don't like. It was a good run.
Yeah, it was a great
am I
run.
wrong?
And the guys, having followed their careers before these moments, this felt really special. Even though I had watched all 4 of these guys beat the shit out of each other for so long, you know?
Right.
It was like, wait a minute, I've seen Kyle versus Cole more times than I've seen anything. And now they're in a group together. This don't make no sense. But yeah, it felt very special as a regular PWG attendee to see this happen on a national stage and for it to go so well.
The Roddy inclusion and watching literally all of them, this is what a faction is supposed to do. They all come together. They are all succeeding together, making their characters better. It's one of the most successful versions of a faction. They broke up before they weren't cool. It's everything. They kind of got it all, you know?
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you. Shit, I guess it's top 2 time, huh?
It's top 2.
All right. My number 2 is the NWO.
My number 2 is the NWO.
Wow. Okay. Perhaps the most monumental landscape changing group to ever exist.
They are the reason that most people, they're the reason for people watching wrestling from a mainstream perspective. They are more, I think that them existing is kind of more, there isn't the boom period without everything that everyone has ever said about the NWO is kind of true.
It's just the war doesn't happen without the first stone being cast by Scott Hall here, and it got silly and wacky as these things do, but man, it was like the most must see wrestling ever. just from an outside, for lack of a better word, outsider entertainment fan perspective.
Right.
It was like, all right, I guess I like wrestling because I'm really enjoying what I'm watching here.
Yeah. I think they invent this thing, just invents what people think wrestling is for a lot of folks. They don't even understand that this was a subversion of it.
Yeah.
You know? There's pre NWO, like we talked about it on our new show
on Knotfest, debuting soon, only on Knotfest, where we watch
only on Knotfest. We talked about it. It's like that's pre NWO, where it feels like, wrestling that I had seen depicted in movies or whatever, like the Highlander or Waterboy, feels exactly like that. The world has a very strong understanding of what wrestling is.
Yeah.
And then post NWO, all of that changes. And to this day, everyone thinks the NWO is what wrestling is. Like most people.
Yeah. I mean, the shirt is still, you can't go to a mall without seeing the shirt. I got 2 of them in my closet. There's the wrestling pre and post NWO is definitely a crazy thing. Like WCW pre NWO, you could have like a Marine gimmick who entered to just Morse code, and like his music is just Morse code, like, and the crowd is just like not second guessing it at all. And then after NWO, people will be like, we don't want to see this shit. Put the NWO back on, which got out of hand, and they fucking went wild with. They wanted to make like instead of Raw and SmackDown, it was like WCW and NWO. They wanted to each have their own show, and that's why Thunder existed. That didn't go to plan, but no matter what, you can't take away the lasting contributions.
Yeah. That's why I feel like the imperfection of it, like the fact that it just gets crazy, everyone's in it, like the whole roster.
That's
everyone but like DDP was in the NWO at some point. Everyone but one guy. That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. And then there were 2 of them fighting each other.
Yeah. Then there was just 2 which doesn't make any sense. Like
the newer world order.
They were like, we can sell red t-shirts. We should do a different one.
I mean, from a marketing perspective, I'll tell you what. Pretty smart.
I like, red t-shirt is pretty cool.
Yeah. Red logo. The red logo was cool.
It was cool. It looked great. But it didn't make a lick of damn sense.
No. I'm really curious what your number 1 is.
What's your number 1? You gotta go first.
You go first. I did it. Oh, I guess it is me. Shit.
Yeah, it is you.
Your honorable mention, the 4 Horsemen.
Of course. I haven't. I figured.
Number 1 greatest wrestling faction of all time.
Okay.
They're those motherfuckers, Every incarnation of it was cool. It's
really?
Yes.
Every
dude. Basically, yeah. I'll take the Mongo one. I don't care. I still like it. They had fucking badass music, just wailing, ripping guitars over some like 90s ass like fake. The fake drum pad that was like a red ball, a blue ball. Those drums.
Just a drum pad that looked like a mall playground.
Yeah. That was
very specific.
The 4 Horsemen WCW theme drums.
Great.
You have Rick leading the group, the first man to carry the Crumb Ride Big Gold, as seen on my shelf up there. You can see it in the reflection a little bit. Arn Anderson, the greatest NWA television champion of all time. Ole Anderson, you got fucking motherfucking Blackjack. there was a never-ending cycle of cool guys. Chris Benoit was in there. Brian Pillman's in there. The roster is deep and prestigious. Even Mongo is cool. Leave him alone. He was doing his best.
Was the dog in the force?
I don't remember ever seeing Pepe.
If Pepe's in, they're number one for Pepe. Is
honorary. I'm sure Pepe was the fifth horseman.
Honorary number one. Yeah, fifth horseman Pepe. Love it.
It's just like what pre NWO. When you talk to people in the South or in the big wrestling boom areas, this is what they know. They're like, oh yeah, right. They're like, I don't watch wrestling anymore, but I know the Four Horsemen, you know, like that. That's their shit.
Dean Malenko.
That's right. Legend
Dean Malenko. Yeah, I like they are who you're like grandmas who love wrestling. Yes. They wanted to see the Horsemen get beat.
It's true.
Like which is legendary. Anyone, if you are affecting grandma opinions, you're a legend.
100%.
Yeah, in this spurt. All right, number one, Brody's gonna fucking put his white boots through my camera, kick me in the face. But you old heads gotta shut the fuck up a little bit.
What are you about to say?
Because there is a reason. It's the New Day is number one.
Number one
for me.
Oh my god.
Let me all right. Hey. They have tag. I'm gonna explain. Like they have been around longer than most of these factions, and they have been cool the entire time.
No, not the entire time. They had to not be cool to be cool. They got booed for years, but because they wanted to be booed, and that's what made it cool eventually. But I think
they took what they were like. It's whatever could get them on TV to just do something. They like took a horrible thing and turned it around.
Dude, Black Spine with the just L is fucking amazing. But I will say, as like to a newer wrestling fan, I could absolutely see this being the case because,
dude, they're the reason I continued to watch wrestling. I watched a Royal Rumble. The first WrestleMania I see is WrestleMania 32, and I see the fucking cereal box come out of the stage. It tips over. They dance out wearing Dragon Ball armor. I'm like, this is what fucking wrestling can be. The fact that they are that silly and also that good is crazy. They also have the most tag team title reigns and the longest tag team title. They are the best team. They got themselves bigger. Like they are better as a unit. Like they are on paper. It's kind of inarguable that they are the faction.
I'm arguing, but I will say I see where you're coming from. I see it. I totally see it because number one, they're still together.
Mm-hmm.
How fucking rare is that in a team? Especially in a team.
They won't break up.
In modern WWE, that's crazy.
They are they're also like over time biggest modern merch seller, biggest merch mover of the modern era.
Also, 3 guys who were like lost creatively, who then together have this beautiful thing, and then 2 have now been world champions, so 1 to go. But I think even the New Day themselves would be like, come on, man. Number 1.
Well, it's that or we got to go off of like criteria. I think that like for expand, I feel like you don't have a best friends if there isn't a New Day. You don't have like comedy wrestling doesn't get a shot, and that's really what
it's had shots, brother. You ever see the Oddities?
No, I don't know what that is.
ICP. They're all pre
the Insane Clown Posse.
Yes. They've been around. All right.
Okay. Well, real comedy wrestling where the wrestling is good.
It is good.
Like, I don't know.
Where
Like,
the guys happen
again,
to be
they're
funny, but then the bell rings.
Yeah. Well, like the thing is that they all get together and Vince is like, you should be gospel singers, which is racist.
Yeah.
That sucks. And they do it, and then they're like, we're gonna get it over. And now they're number one on my list.
Hated that first vignette that they did so fucking bad. I despise.
I don't even know what it is.
It was them and a bunch of gospel singers and Xavier like cutting this promo as like a pastor. I hated it. And it's not to anything they were doing wrong, but just like the presentation of it, I remember just being like, oh my God. And eventually it was like they were booed out of the house every time. And then they went full heel and things started to really work out. But number one, New Day, I think yet again, you're off your rocker, brother. But that's why.
Here's the thing: we have the same number two, I haven't seen the Four Horsemen.
I get it.
So
I get it.
I can't tell you.
I get it. You're a modern man doing modern stuff, and I get that. Somebody's got to be. You and like the Twitter stands, like you guys are, you're figuring it out still, like.
Yeah, you like I don't know, like I'm not.
I don't mean that in a way.
Even if I watch like an Evolution, like Evolution's not gonna make it onto my list ever.
Well, I mean that was definitely a time and place thing for sure.
For sure.
Like I'm not gonna go back and like watch 2 years of Raw. I'll watch 2 years of Nitro though. I'll tell you what. And we will be doing Knotfest, only on Knotfest, where we watch every episode of Nitro. Coming soon. All right, that was our top 10 factions list, and that was absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us yet again, Jordan. Next week is the big rebrand, right?
I guess so. It's literally just whenever they post the graphic.
Yeah. Waiting on a graphic, and then we're gonna rebrand. So let's come back for an all new type of show Monday,
maybe if they export it from Photoshop.
All right, let's export it. Let's get the new show going. This is always fun. Thanks, Jordan. Thanks, everybody, for watching. And this has been Knotfest Wrestling. We'll see you next Monday, and we'll see you on Nitro, the new show where we watch every episode of Nitro only on Knotfest. Coming soon.